All right, good to see everybody. First of all, best wishes to Tito on a speedy recovery. We're thinking about him. And with that, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
He gets back today.
He's going to try and go.
How about Troy Hill and LeCount?
Good to go.
And Odell and Chris Hubbard and the guys who took yesterday off?
Yeah.
All right, good.
And we talked to Joel today. He gets overlooked a little bit because of all the other guys you have on this team. But what makes him such a dominant offensive lineman in this league and a leader for you guys up front?
Does a great job. I don't know if he gets overlooked by me though.
Right.
He's we count on him. Really great teammate. Always shows up and works his butt off. He great combination of size and power and foot quickness. Really good player for a really long time.
How can he and Jed, their second year together, what kind of improvement are you looking for?
Yeah, there's a ton of communication that goes on along the lines, Jeff, and from left tackle to left guard, obviously everything runs through the center. So with those guys, one more year under their belt, a bunch of practices under their belt, walkthroughs, I think there's so much communication that over the course of time you acquire knowledge about each other, and then you can use that when the season rolls around.
Is there any value in having a guy who knows how long or how far you guys have come as a franchise? Being here, 3 or 4 years ago, and what it's taken to get to this point, as a leader of your team.
Are you saying Joel?
Joel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just got here last year, so it's hard for me to comment necessarily. But yeah, Joel's had a great career to this point. He's got many, many years left. But in terms of what he's been through, I just think he's just a rock solid person, and I think he means a lot to his teammates.
Staying on that O line, this time of year, did you have any idea what you had in Wyatt Teller?
Yeah, I would say we were excited about working with Wyatt. We saw the skill set, the motor that he plays with, the nastiness that he plays with. So I know Coach Callahan was excited.
Did anything surprise you once you got on the field with them or saw them in games, watched them on tape?
Not really, Dan, just because I didn't have a ton of preconceived notions. I mean, you watch the tape and you see where you think there's a fit in how we play and what we do. So we saw it there. So, yeah, I think we were pleased with the year Wyatt had, but I think he knows he's got to get a lot better like all of us do.
Wyatt was a defensive lineman, I think, till his second year in college. Is there anything to that mentality, or is that just something we throw in there when a guy's like that?
No, I think there is. I do. And we got a rookie from Cincinnati. Hudson was a defensive lineman. I think there's something to it. There's a nastiness that those guys play with along the trenches.
Will Hudson get snaps at guard in camp?
We'll see. I think with all these rookies, Tony, we have a plan with them, whether you're talking playing left and then playing right, and then do you move them inside. I think we'll likely eventually get there, but not going to start there.
With Felton, we've seen him play two positions. Ultimately, where do you think he can fit here?
Remains to be seen. I think the kid's a football player. To be able to do that day in and day out says a lot about his ability to learn and ability to think quickly and break the huddle. And when you're the halfback, sometimes it's pretty easy when you break the huddle. You know where to line up.
Right.
When you're playing receiver, you're bouncing all along the formation. So he's done a great job for us, and we'll continue to see what fits with him. But until then, he's just putting good football on tape.
Kevin always harp on guys blocking out the noise. Not anybody specific, but when players are up for contract extensions, it would be human nature not to think about your future and your family and all those kinds of things. What can you do as a coach to make sure that those guys aren't affected by those kinds of situations?
Yeah, I think our guys are professionals, Tom, and I think when you're in the building and you're between the white lines, you have a job to do. Everybody has agents. I have one, so you let them do their jobs, but we focus really on what's going on the field and in the meeting rooms.
Do you give that message, though, to your guys that just focus on what you got to do out here in your work and everything will take care of itself?
I do, but I give that globally all the time, so not in reference to that.
When you and Andrew have big picture meetings, is it as simple as, yes, we think Baker's the guy for the future and we should give him a long-term contract?
I think we have a ton of conversations, Scott, up and down the roster, and I think for every one of those conversations between Andrew and I, we also bounce ideas off of our staff, off of the personnel. So with regards to any player and any part, how they're part of the future, there's a lot of good dialogue that goes on, and they continue to go on.
Is there anything special for the fans? Should we be on guard that they'll take a mic or anything like that?
I'm not planning on it unless you want to grab the mic, Tony. You can do that.
Are you ready for the Super Bowl chants and your name to be chanted and
I'm
that
here-
tradition?
I'm here to work, Daryl.
Joe Patonio said that Jordan Elliott transformed his body in the offseason. He thinks he's a step quicker. Have you noticed that on the field?
Yeah, I have. Jordan did a nice job. He's a young player, and he's continuing to come along. He's very coachable. Coach Kiff asked him to do something. He's going to try and do it exactly how he's asked. So he's working at it. He's got a long way to go. He's a young player, but excited about his future.
Did he show you enough? I mean, I know he didn't play a ton last year. Did he show you enough where you said, hey, we see the things we thought we saw when we drafted him?
Yeah, I think we were excited when we got him, and you saw glimpses of it. For young players, it's hard to immediately show everything you got, and almost did it again in year one. But the kid, he gave us some valuable reps, and we got to build off of that.
Denzel mentioned today that he added a few extra pounds this offseason just to give himself a little bit of extra bulk. How much was that maybe coming from you guys as a staff, and what do you think that's going to do as far as maybe helping him with the durability aspect?
Yeah, he did. I'm glad you mentioned Denzel. He did a great job. He really is in a good spot physically. And I think that's a credit to Denzel, obviously, first and foremost, but it's a credit to the strength staff, to Katie, our nutritionist. They had a plan, and he's really stuck to it. So over the course of 17 games, you always have to think about how you are physically. So I know that weight is a number, but it's really about it's lean muscle mass, it's how he's eating, all those type of things. He takes it very seriously. So I was proud of how he came in this season.
You mentioned the extra game as part of the motivation to do that. Is that part of the thinking for you guys at all?
It's definitely been part of our discussions on a lot of things as we plan out this season and training camp, and you just have to be mindful of it. That's on average 65 extra snaps on a guy. It's another practice week on players, so we just got to be real intentional about how we put our schedule together with that in mind.
How much
Kevin,
has that adjustment this year, taking that fourth preseason game away, which, was an evaluation game pretty much, and switching that out with a game that matters and could potentially decide a playoff spot or whatever, but just as you planned out your stuff for this year, just what was the effect of that 17th game getting added to the regular season on you as a staff?
Yeah, like I said, Darryl, we talked about it when it first passed, and had good conversations with our strength staff, with our sports science staff, and kind of talk about what we wanted to do, and again, how we have to be intentional about those conversations and what makes sense. You don't want to say, all right, we're going to rest everybody for a week, so, but you got to have those conversations and think what makes sense. So we'll continue to do that, and we're trying to do that both in training camp and then really throughout the season.
Do you think Donovan Peoples-Jones, the first two times he helped you last year in games, other guys got hurt and he stepped up. So was it more of a gradual thing, or did he need that breakout moment to kind of show you that he was ready?
Zach, I'd tell you, most rookies, there's a learning curve, and Jed obviously was in there play number one and started the whole season, but I'd say that's pretty rare across the league. Once you get out of that first round, top 15 guys, you typically have guys that you're working into the lineup, and their roles grow throughout the season. I think Donovan's a great example of that, and again, a really smart player, a conscientious kid that we could put in there and trust him to do the job, and he's certainly earned our trust over the course of time.
You ever wonder how you guys got him in the 6th round?
Andrew and his staff do a great job.
Kevin, how do you and or Mike Prefer approach Cody Parkey after a rough field goal period that we saw yesterday? Or is there anything to say or do?
I think it's day one, Nate, and there's going to be many opportunities over the course of time. Sometimes you're off, and then you get an opportunity a couple days coming up. So I wouldn't look too much into it.
I know you're not making any speeches, but are you curious to see how the guys practice with fans and the excitement and the, all that?
Yeah, I think it is fun, Marla. I think there'll definitely be some juice out here for the guys. I know the players will enjoy it. They enjoy being applauded. So I think there certainly will be an element to that, and I'm excited to see it. First time for me. I've been part of training camps where we have the fans in there, and I can just tell you the oohs and the ahs that the players definitely feed off of it.
The Vikings get
Last one
big
here.
crowds.
Yeah.
That one shouldn't count.
This one doesn't count, PJB. Yeah, the Vikings got good crowds. I was at the Eagles in 2005. They got amazing crowds. So, yeah, it's fun. I know it's a limited space, different than past years, but I know that our fans will be extra loud over there.
Your dad over the moon about Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, they're excited. I'm excited for the Pistons, excited for the home team as well, getting a pretty good player themselves.